We're finally back with our highly anticipated Spring 2018 anime preview and first impressions bonanza. I'm Whooper.
And I'm Grenchler, and this year we got a whole slew of amazing shows.
Yes, amazing shows that we're not going to cover, such as Steins Gate reboot,
Tokyo Ghoul reboot,
Sword Art Online spinoff,
Food Wars sequel,
Persona 5 video game adaptation,
the 4th season of High School DX Kill Me,
Legend of the Galactic Heroes reboot,
Full Metal Panic sequel,
and so much more.
You can find all of these shows streaming on Crunchyroll.
I don't think that's true, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you want to find anime, you just Google it and do 15 minutes of research, use a little common sense. You can find it even if it's not streaming in English for you.
And if you use even more common sense, you can find things that aren't hot garbage.
That's what we're here to help you with. We're going to talk about 10 shows that aren't the ones we just listed. Although one of them is
hot garbage,
is an adaptation of a manga that's already been made into a movie.
Oh.
And one of them is a sequel, and we're also talking about a children's soccer series with superpowers in it. Just because it looked fun. These are just 10 shows that we went through all the PVs of the spring series a few weeks ago. We decided what we'd talk about, what looked interesting, and we settled on 10 shows that we're going to go through for you right now.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so should we do them in order? I forgot to pull up the randomizer thing. Do we just want to do them like in this order, or you want to take turns picking?
I guess we can just go like from the middle out.
From the middle out. Okay, so what should we start with?
Let's start with Megalo Box.
Okay, so we're gonna rank these shows like 1 through 10, not out of 10, giving them a score, but 1 being the one we enjoyed most out of the 10 series,
and 10 being dead last.
Right. So this is what we did for the Winter 2018 preview 3 months ago. I'm not sure when this is going up. Hopefully soon. But yeah, so do you want to reveal our like ranks out of 10 at the start of each show or at the end?
Let's do it at the end.
Okay. Yeah, we can talk about it first, then put a little number on it.
Okay.
Like the autists we are. Okay, so Megalo Box. What did you enjoy most about this show?
Where do I start?
Does that mean you really liked it?
Yeah. Man,
Me too.
there was so much cool stuff. I like the pseudo 70s kind of setting. It's what the future would look like if the future had been designed in the 1970s. You know how
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Like in the 50s, the Jetsons' idea of the year 2000 was we're living in clouds and our cars run on pellets and fly.
Right.
And I think that's the way that the universe was styled. I mean, I don't know.
There are no flying cars in this show, though. It's like
but this is.
It's like a bit of a. I don't want to say cyberpunk because that's not really accurate.
No, it's not. It's more like and it's not steampunk either. It's somewhere in the middle.
It's
punk.
boxing punk.
Yeah, that's it. That's
a new genre has been born.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's
based Megalo.
It does look. I think that the way that like when there are shots of the city, overhead shots, you can see that it's kind of run down and like probably a low wealth.
Yeah, it's like a slum
crime type area, I guess. Maybe that's like classist of me to say.
Well, this show is kind of about classism.
Yeah, a little bit. Because the main character, in addition to being about classism, it's also about like...
Corporatism, maybe?
Corporatism?
Yeah.
Just. I know what you mean. I don't think that's a word.
It isn't?
No, I don't think so. But
okay,
maybe it is. But I know what you mean. Yeah. Because the main character, in addition to being, flat broke and having to throw boxing matches as his job, even though he wants to be more than that, and he knows feels that he's more than that. He's also not even a citizen of whatever city the show's taking place in. So he doesn't qualify. He can't sign up for this big Megalonia tournament.
Yeah.
That is going to be the focus of the show going forward, I guess. So he's definitely an outsider. It's not just that he's poor. It's not just that he's of a lower class or any of that. He doesn't even like. He's not the same as everyone else. He's not a citizen of their city or their country or
I don't think any of the people in the slums are.
Oh yeah, maybe that's the idea, is that only people who live, like when I was talking about those overhead shots, the further in you get to the city, the
nicer it looks.
sleeker and nicer it looks. Yeah, as opposed to the outside, which is run down. And the show really establishes that pretty well, not just through visuals, but through like a bit of dialogue too. Do you remember everyone's gambling on everything?
Right.
That's like that seems to be the pastime of everybody in the. I can't imagine it's just people in the slums. Probably the rich people are gambling too.
Well, yeah, of course. Otherwise, there would be no reason to put this tournament on.
Right. Well, it's the tournament's functioning as like an ad, kind of, for their biotech or their
gear.
Yeah, their biomechanical. That's not the right word. Yeah, they're. What are they? What do you call them? Help me.
Augments.
Yeah, the robotic augmentation.
Yeah, oh man,
JD is the main character.
Yeah, no, JD is the main character, but the villain
Yuri,
that's right. Because the gear he's wearing looks like a second skin almost.
Yeah,
it looks like it's almost grafted to him.
Yeah, and JD's is like, you know, it looks like a piece of junk, and everyone makes that comment when they first see him. But he says something at one point to the effect of, "Oh, you can't be a Megalo Boxer if you don't have gear, right?" So I think what he's saying is he's just a boxer, and he only wears the gear to qualify. Obviously, it helps him. You know, it makes the punches harder and faster, and makes people cough up blood and stuff. And it makes it more exciting maybe for the crowd. But when he said that, I kind of got the impression that he was more of an old school type of boxer who really just enjoyed the sport for what it was.
I missed that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so he sticks out for sure as a character. He's got a lot of personality. He drives his motorcycle off a cliff in the opening scene.
Yep.
We don't see
the result of that.
Yeah. Well, we kind of do, because his motorcycle gets wrecked and then he takes it to his mechanic. And they have a bit of a conversation that kind of establishes that he's an outsider, and they're both kind of outsiders, and they don't have a lot of money, and that leads into the whole Megalonia thing that's going to be taking over the show pretty soon.
Because the prize is just a retarded amount of money.
Yeah. Anything else you particularly liked?
I like the music.
The music.
It was very 70s era kind of music with a couple parts with like electronic elements thrown in. It definitely was.
Oh, dude, I felt as though the music was very modern.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, well I can,
because there were a lot of like fuzzy synths that you would hear in 2010s radio pop.
Right, but you have to like know intricacies about synthesizers to recognize what sounds came from the early synths in the 70s, and there was a lot of that as well.
Well, I mean one of the big synth rock albums from the 70s, maybe the one that kind of pioneered that sound, was Who's Next by The Who. And that has, I don't know what kind of synth that is. If I played a track for you, I'm sure you would know, because you know that sort of stuff. But nothing in this show sounded like that. It all sounded like really, you know, like you could hear like some dubstep influences. There was no wub wub wub,
right?
But it was still that same kind of like distorted sound.
I don't know. That's just the feeling I got for some reason. That's what I heard.
Well, you may be right, because this show is kind of a celebration of Ashita no Joe's 50th anniversary. That was like a legendary boxing manga and anime in the 70s.
Yeah, and I felt like the art kind of was reflected that.
And the low resolution. That
did irk me a little bit. I was just like...
It kind of made it look older.
It did. It did look older. It looked like an old school style of animation with modern polish on top of it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think that's probably what they were going for.
Yeah,
that's why it's not. I don't think it was broadcast in 1080p. Probably not even mastered in 1080p. Honestly,
or maybe they just put like a big filter over it that made it all fuzzy.
That's possible. Maybe they did a A.N.I.M.E and just
blurred their show the heck out of everything, and now you can't see it.
Maybe they use some kind of filter, but I feel as though it's not. You know, I'm sure they use the same software and the same drawing
stuff everyone else does.
Yeah, but I think they just mastered it differently.
Interesting.
And I was okay with that. I think it even added to the show.
Okay.
So is that something you'd say you disliked about the premiere? Was the low resolution, like the blurriness?
Yeah, because I'm seeing like anti-aliasing lines and like jaggies everywhere, and I'm like, that's
But I think the art style kind of camouflages that. It looks the show looks kind of gritty.
It does camouflage it, but I still notice it. It looks like I'm playing a game in the wrong resolution.
Yeah.
Or like when you stretch an image out and you're like, oh, it doesn't look as good as it used to.
I know what you mean. I think it adds to the show, but it's certainly something I notice right away.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be something that everybody likes or appreciates.
You can alleviate that symptom by watching it on a phone.
Yeah,
I did not.
Okay. People who watch anime on phones should be dragged out into the street and hugged.
I quite literally watched the entire first 2 seasons of Boku no Hero Academia on my phone.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't missing much though. That's just it's a silly shonen series. Although that's the kind of show where Bones is bringing their A game. So
yeah,
you probably want to watch that on a bigger monitor.
Well, I am now.
We're going to be watching it. That's one of the shows we're going to be talking about in a second. Megalo Box, though, I really like the way the show looked. I liked the main character's personality. I liked the setup for the story. The thing that I appreciated most is, we learned that he throws fights.
Right.
That's what his boss, his handler or his agent, whatever you call him.
His dad.
That's not his dad.
He refers to him as dad like 4 times.
You're kidding me.
No.
Am I that inattentive?
Possibly.
I don't think it's his dad, dude. I really would challenge you on that.
We'll have to go back and check.
Okay.
But I'm almost positive.
Well, the guy who's setting up fights for him.
Yeah, his manager.
He's talking to him through his earpiece in the middle of the fight, and I thought for sure that he was going to ignore his orders when he's fighting the guy with the blonde hair. I thought he was going to ignore orders and be like, and punch him out.
BTFO him.
Yeah, and be like, I'm gonna sign up for Megalonia. I'm gonna be the greatest boxer who ever lived.
And then he just takes the dive.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that too.
That's who he is. That's his job, and that's kind of his station in life. So it's appropriate that he would do that for the story. It's only after he, rides down that road in the rain, like on his motorcycle, and he meets the woman and Yuri.
That's the only scene that I didn't like.
Really?
It just felt forced. Or it just felt like...
Well, you're going to have to use a better word than forced. Forced is like...
It felt like that entire moment was just to drive the plot forward. Like, why was he going into the city in the first place? Was he just riding to clear his head and he happened to go down a road that was clearly marked, hey, this isn't a finished bridge yet. You're going to die if you drive off it.
I think that's symbolic. That he was driving down a road that says no access. Like because he's
a rebel.
He's a rebel, but because so much time is devoted to showing him as being in this, on the outskirts of town and being in a certain class and, being broke and down on his luck. When he goes down that road with that sign like staring you in the face, no entry, it's supposed to symbolize him like leaving that part of his life behind and going into like the unknown. And that's where he encounters, it's fitting that that's where he encounters the champion.
Yuri and
the woman.
Yep, whatever her name is.
Yeah, I don't know if we learn her first name because he just refers to her as owner.
Right.
But she's the daughter of like the big company that produces.
She runs it at this point.
Okay.
Because her father died, I'm pretty sure. And she inherited the company.
Yeah, there was a little dialogue about her father.
Yeah, it was a news broadcast or something.
Yeah, the news broadcast comes at the start. That's when we learned that Megalonia is going to be the thing.
Yep. All right, so what'd you rate the show?
I put it second.
I put it first.
Nice. We're definitely going to be covering this then.
Okay.
I'm going to write it there on our little chart.
Yeah, I got you.
So W for Whooper, put a 2.
2.
And then a 1 for you. And then the average in the last column.
Average is 1.5.
So the only way that could possibly be equaled is if another show
gets 1 and 2.
Gets the flopped scores.
Which probably won't happen.
Probably not, but...
So, let's do...
Oh, we spent a lot of time talking about that. We gotta...
Yeah, we did.
We gotta do it quicker. Just just brief impressions.
That was a little bit of a standout for both of us, though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's probably why it took so long. Let's do Golden Kamuy.
Okay, you actually just watched this.
Yeah, like 30
an hour
minutes
ago. Yeah, something like that. I saw it a few days ago. Whenever it came out.
Yep.
And I wasn't too fond of it.
Yeah. Okay. Why weren't you fond of it?
Because the same way that you described the scene in Megalo Box as just being in service of the story to push the story forward, I thought that everything that happened in the first episode of Golden Kamuy was to push the story forward. Like, the show opens with him. It's set in the Russo-Japanese War at like the start of the 20th century.
Right. World War I.
No, the Russo-Japanese War. It's not World War I.
Well, it was right next to it.
No, it was before. World War I is going to be like 15 years after this show. It said 1904.
Okay.
But the flashback is in the Russo-Japanese War, which happens even before that. So we learn a little bit about him, and that he's a crazy, ruthless killer. I mean, that's what soldiers do. They're put in that position, but he is especially nutso.
Right.
But so we learn a little bit about his character there. But after that, like the old man.
Yep. His entire purpose was to set up the story and then die.
Yeah. That was like, that kind of character writing is just awful and turns me off immediately. You said it. I couldn't say it any better. That was his purpose.
His purpose was to expositate, however you say
explain,
however you say expository dialogue in a fancy way, and then die.
Yeah, and then, well, not only that, but he had a third purpose apart from those two things. He also existed.
He's a piece of the map.
Yes, he existed to have his
skin grafted off.
No, not grafted, just cut off.
Yeah. Right, grafting is moving.
Yeah, or replacing or something.
Yeah. Like when they replace your burns with your butt.
And Asirpa, the Ainu girl, I thought I was kind of interested in her mostly because of her character design. Like, her outfit is cool and her way of life, like living a more like spiritual and natural life. I think that's kind of interesting. So I think the show will probably
be centric on her more than him.
No, I think he's the main character. But I think that the show intends to explore her culture and her as an individual. And so that I'm interested in. But all of her talk with Sugimoto was like, it was all focused on like the bear, and we got to fight this bear. We got to team up to fight this bear because now that its prey is here, the old man, the bear eats his stomach or something.
Yep. The bear cursed by an evil spirit.
Right.
And it has to eat just humans.
So all their dialogue is like focused on the bear and then focused on the treasure hunt that they're about to go on. It's just like,
I mean, it focuses they talk a little bit about like the reasoning behind why she would join up with him, because the prisoners that escaped, her dad was apparently one of the guards, and those prisoners killed all of the guards.
Yeah,
and escaped
in order to steal the gold.
Right.
No, but I don't think it was all the prisoners who escaped and killed them. I think it was one guy in particular.
No,
wasn't it?
It was all the prisoners that had the map on them because they were taken out to, Yeah.
But you just kind of said it yourself. It's about a reason. That conversation between them was about a reason why she would go in this treasure hunt. It just, like, the entire episode, except for maybe the start, was all dedicated to, setting up the big treasure hunt that they're going to go on. Maybe it'll be like kick ass from episode 2 onward and everything will be great and that kind of writing will disappear.
Yeah, that's what I put in my notes, is that there was a lot of exposition at the start, and hopefully that it gets better. I did like how the bear looked completely different.
You like that?
That had to be intentional.
Oh, of course it was intentional. The director has gone on social media and explained it because it's gotten such a negative reaction.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was they were trying to, I don't know, make a point or something with it, but
that's what the director said. He wanted the bear to look like otherworldly, look totally different from everything else.
Did you notice the other CG?
Yeah, the wolf and the fire.
Yeah. Well, the fire was like that looked like a sprite out of a video game. That was an odd choice. But I thought the wolf looked pretty good.
I think the wolf looked okay. Yeah, and the fire I don't mind too much because it's an inanimate object. Like they're gonna use.
It did
CG
draw
for
my
that sort of
attention
thing.
though. Like
Yeah.
I was always
Dude,
like that doesn't look right.
I can't believe you were okay with the bear.
No, I thought it was fine. I thought it looked,
Damn. All right.
It looked kind of interesting.
Cool. I think that's the first I've heard or read anyone having a nice opinion of.
At first, I was like, I don't know, but I was like, okay, so no, okay,
Like
yeah.
when it's on its legs, like when it's running towards Sugimoto, when it's like lumbering towards him, and its limbs are like just jerking across the ground, like vaguely pawing at where the ground should be as it's running over to him. It looks silly. I thought it looked completely ridiculous. But it wasn't my biggest issue with the episode. It was more the amount of time spent explaining stuff and the big neon sign reading setup that was practically pasted over everything. Yeah. The bear would have been like an acceptable casualty if the rest of the episode had been good for me.
Okay.
So I wasn't super into it.
All right.
How about you?
Kind of a medium. Yeah.
Medium, huh?
Medium. Where'd you put it?
Oh, is that all you wanted to say?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else I can add to it. I had the same,
Okay.
the same complaints you did.
This is from the same studio that did Kokoku.
Really?
Geno Studio.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and there were a couple signs in this episode of like troubled production from the get-go.
What, just people being randomly off model or quality?
Like there was a scene where Sugimoto is supposed to turn his head to the left and to the right to check his surroundings, and the show just completely failed to depict that like range of movement. It just looked like a student film for that one little segment.
It looked like the film the people from Shirobako made.
Yeah, pretty much. It was on that level. So I'm not really. This is a show based on a manga that's won like tons of awards. It's one of the biggest manga in terms of like acclaim and attention from this decade. And so honestly, for me, I just want to read the manga. I don't want to watch this studio handle this material.
That's fair.
So, all right, do you want to reveal the scores?
Sure, I put it 6th.
I put it 8th.
Okay.
So we're definitely not going to be covering this with an average of 7 out of 10.
Probably not. Actually, almost definitely.
You got to flip those, but it doesn't really matter if we have the average.
The average is the same.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Next would be Hinamatsuri.
Okay. This is a comedy. This is like an out and out comedy, not a rom-com or a yonkoma adaptation, which is like quote unquote comedy that only Japanese people would understand or any of that. It's just a straight up comedy, and I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I did too.
I liked it.
I did. I enjoyed it as well.
What did you enjoy most about it? You had to point to one or two things.
I think it's
sure. I'll scroll to your notes.
Scroll to my notes.
Please stand by.
It's first or second. Yeah, there it is.
What do you got? I mean, if you liked it, you would probably be able to recall stuff off the top of your head, right?
The intro had better animation than had any right to have.
Yeah, the fight scene.
That was crazy cool.
I know.
And the scene where she's like throwing all the dudes out of the building, that's a lot of movement.
Yeah. The fight scene was way more impressive than that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you see like the shots of everything breaking and bouncing on the ground, there's still something there because it has to convey motion. And that's
indeed animation tends to do that.
But that's something that's hard to convey in animation is weight. And,
yeah, that's true.
Something
that's true.
Hitting with force and bouncing is rather than just.
I actually didn't. I didn't take a lot of I mean, I guess it didn't really grab me that there was a realistic sense of weight and gravity to those scenes. Like when the guys were colliding with the ground, if they skid the appropriate distance or bounced the right height, I didn't really take note of that. Because for me, that scene was more about, first of all, it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And I also liked the relationship between Hina and Nita. Because he is, even though she appears out of nowhere, she's like some sort of alien, or we don't know what she is. And she threatens him and manipulates him with her abilities.
Why do I feel like a caregiver?
Yeah. He does treat her well though, and wants her to be compensated for her work, and even
spends like $6,000 on clothing.
Yeah. Well, he does that because he's afraid of her at first.
Yeah.
But then I feel like their relationship develops nicely over the course of just one episode. And so when she goes into the building at the end and throws all the Yakuza or the rival gang members, whatever they are,
right,
out the windows, it also, it's funny, but it also feels good to watch because she is repaying him for his kindness. So I think it works on that level too.
Yeah, I'd say so.
How did you, here's a question for you.
Okay.
The very end, did you watch the post-credit scene or whatever it was with the pea cloud when he gets out of that egg?
Yeah.
That was, for me, that was like a your mileage may vary type of scene. Like some people are going to love it. Some people are going to be grossed out by it. Which side of the fence did you fall on?
But it was funny.
Okay. I thought it was disgusting, but I am laughing about it. So
gross things can be funny.
Yeah, they can. That's true. I've got nothing against toilet humor, but that was like a literal toilet that his entire existence was turned into while he was trapped in that egg. And then the pea steam mix being released. I mean, I guess the show earned the right to be a little crude at the end because I think it did good work leading up to that point. But she was pretty manipulative at the start. Like, because he really loves, he collects
fancy vases.
Vases.
I've got a new vase for the collection.
And plates as well, yes. Porcelain of all varieties.
Only if it's been fixed with the finest gold. Okay, we're doing this too long.
Yeah, we're not as funny as Hinamatsuri.
No.
He really likes, collecting plates and vases and stuff, yeah. And she's like threatening to break them and
to break all his stuff.
And
like, okay, I'll do what you want.
Yeah. And she wants to go to school too. I can't remember. Did we see her at school at all?
Yes.
We did?
She sleeps through everything.
That's right. And there's the one girl who kind of becomes her friend or is interested in being her friend.
Why do I feel like I'm a caregiver?
Yeah. That's right. That was a little running gag.
I think that there may be more to something more to that than just a gag.
Oh, you think that something about her causes people to feel that way because she's some kind of alien or
she's
whatever?
She's from some other worldly place where there's like...
She looks human.
Spirits or magic. Yeah, but she's from like another dimension. She falls through a portal.
Yeah, that's true.
In a metallic egg.
Right. That you have to... that was really funny.
And you flipped me over and hit the button.
Yeah. That just cracked me up. I can't really explain why, but it did. Probably because I don't know, like other animals are born from eggs.
Yeah.
So maybe the twist on the idea that this human type
it's also
creature
funny
is
that
being
just
born from
the
an egg.
face is showing.
Yeah, that's probably the funniest part about it.
Yeah. Like we've built this to protect you, except your face.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked most of what this episode had to offer.
Yeah, I definitely
anything you didn't like about it or any like questions
it was hard for me to find something I didn't like. Just standard music, but that was
standard music.
Like the music was just, your average anime or your standard anime music. It wasn't like
standard anime music.
It didn't stick out is what I mean.
Yeah. I'd have a tough time pinning down what standard anime music sounds like. I'd probably know it if I heard it, but anime does do a whole bunch of different styles and soundtracks and things. But I can't remember anything in particular about the score for this show or the soundtrack for this show. So yeah, right. I guess it doesn't have.
That's the only thing that I could really dig out after sitting and thinking about it for a while.
Okay. Well, what do you want to? How do you rate it?
How do I rate it? 2.
Okay, I put it third.
All right.
Definitely covering this one. Where'd you put the marker?
I have it right here.
Okay. Remember, mine is the first one. Yeah.
Average is 2.5. All
right. Megalo Box and Hinamatsuri are basically guaranteed.
Yep.
So that means out of the 7 shows remaining, a bunch of them we're not going to have liked so much.
Nope.
Let's move on to
Piano no Mori.
Okay. So this is based on a manga from like the late 90s that ran for almost 20 years.
Wow. Okay.
And they're going to condense it into a 12 episode anime.
Well, they're not going to do a good job.
Yeah, that's probably not. We'll see. Maybe there'll be like a series of time skips. There's already been a movie. There was a movie adaptation of this, but it didn't cover all of the source material.
Right. Well, it'd be difficult to cover 20 years of writing.
I think it was more. There was a hiatus in the middle, so I think it was more like 15 or 16.
That's still a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time. But I don't know.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty charming.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not have a positive reaction.
Okay. Why not?
I thought these CG scenes of him playing piano were gross.
Okay. I can't believe that you think the bear from Golden Kamuy was like acceptable, but you thought the CG in this show was...
I think the animation looked good, but the visuals itself looked like it came out of the PS2 era.
Yeah. That's what a lot of anime CG looks like. But it accurately conveyed the range of motion that pianists undergo when they're playing.
I thought the scenes moving between that and the traditional animation where it's just the shots of some arms moving and the hair moving back and forth were just jarring at best.
I actually thought they did pretty well. I was okay with it because I understand that anime is moving towards more and more computer assistance. I mean, they use computers for everything now. I shouldn't say computer assistance, but direct like 3D CG stuff. That's the way things are going. You have a couple studios that are like resisting that trend still. But I mean, well, no, there's a Bone show we're going to talk about in a second. Even that was using CG.
My Hero Academia uses CG.
I was talking about Hisone to
I know,
Maso-tan.
but even
I'm sure Academia does in spots.
Yeah. Mostly just cars and massive crowds. And most of those are even hand drawn.
Yeah. CGI crowd shots are gross. But this in Piano no Mori, it wasn't a crowd shot. It was just one individual. So your eye is like drawn to that one thing in particular. And I understand it sticks out like a sore thumb, but how else are you gonna on a show that's being done on a shoestring budget?
I was about to say. I mean, I was about to draw a comparison to another show about music that didn't use CG and looked fantastic, but I don't think it was.
What would that be?
Kids on the Slope.
Oh, I think there was rotoscoping involved in Kids on the Slope.
Well, rotoscoping is just taking images out of other images.
No, rotoscoping is I don't know the exact definition, but rotoscoping in anime is when you trace photos.
Oh, that's called tracing. Rotoscoping is a completely different term. You're not thinking of the right thing.
Okay.
Either way, still, Kids on the Slopes animation for that was just off the wall good.
Yeah, it was really good. And in this show, it's clearly not as good. So it has less personality to it, but they do look. It looks appropriate, like the way their hands, arms, fingers move, the way they kind of sway back and forth. In order
to reach the range of
because they're really like feeling the music. I'm really feeling it. They did what they had to do in order to convey that motion, and I accept that. But I also accept that people aren't going to like it. But appreciating the bear. Hello?
Because it's not trying to imitate real life. It's trying to look different on purpose.
Yeah, but then the threat of the bear becomes so much less real.
That's because it's otherworldly.
But it isn't. It's part of the natural world.
That's an evil spirit.
That's the whole point of the show, is that like they're in the wilderness.
We're talking about another show. Let's go back to piano.
Right. So you didn't like the CG. I thought it was okay. Well, what else? How else did you find the show? Like,
I felt like the kids acted like adults think kids act like.
No, I disagree. Like the kids acted like children. Oh, give me an example of what you're talking about.
You got to show us your dick, man.
You don't think that stuff happens in real life?
Not to me.
No,
Not when I was a kid.
I mean, it didn't.
That happened to you when you were a kid?
No, it didn't. But that's like a sample size of 2. That kind of stuff goes on, I'm sure.
You're sure?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start polling people's parents and be like, has this ever happened to your child? I was just like, what?
I don't know. If you can't imagine that stuff like that goes on in other countries and cultures, or even here, if you can't imagine that, then that it just means it didn't happen to you.
Maybe it's not a can't.
Maybe
it's not a can't. Maybe it's a don't want to.
Maybe it's like it's just a form of hazing. They're attempting to humiliate him, and that's probably one of the ways. Nudity is like super shameful when you're a little kid.
Yeah, I guess because your parents have been beating you up the last couple of years. Like, stop running around without your underwear.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We're born. We come into this world naked, and we have to wear clothes, and we have to make sure we don't pull our pants all the way down when we go to the restroom in public for the first time, and that stuff like gets drilled into your head. So when a bully wants to humiliate and humiliate you and make you feel ashamed, that'd be my go-to.
I don't know. I'd just beat someone up. I feel like that's just same.
He did plenty of that as well. But forget about the bully for a second. How about you? I thought the kids acted believably.
I just didn't like it. Maybe it was the opening scene I really didn't like how it looked, so it just made the whole rest of how the show was just sour.
Yeah. Well, that's
the haunted piano that only plays for somebody with like the chosen hands. Like, what?
That is pretty bizarre. There's like a supernatural element involved. But the kid is a self-taught prodigy who plays better than anybody else in the whole...
Well, no, because he can't play a regular piano. He can only play that one. He's at the other kid's house and he can't play anything.
I don't think it said he can't play anything.
No, he said... Because you said play that rendition of Little Brown Jug. He said, I'm playing the same thing I always do.
Yeah, but I understand that attention was drawn into that scene, that there was a difference, but it's not as though he can't play.
I think it's that he can't play another piano.
He just can't do it as well.
No, I don't think he can do it at all.
What? That's not what happened.
That's what I think. It sounded like a
But
kid.
he literally played the piano.
He was just hitting keys.
But sound came out.
Yes. That's what happens when you hit keys on a piano.
But not in the piano in the forest. When I'm talking about playability, I'm talking about sound. Because that's the whole thing in this show, is that there's a piano that no one else can play. Like, they literally can't play.
Yes, I understand that.
That's what I was talking
I mean
about.
that he can't like sit down and play a normal song on a regular piano. He can only do it on the chosen piano.
Yeah, the piano no Mori. The piano of the forest.
Which turned out to be their old teacher's piano.
Yeah.
And he was a famous concert pianist, and then that kid inherited his hands.
Yeah.
Or something.
That's obvious. That's obviously metaphorical language. But I thought the two kids, I thought the way that they got to be friends was pretty believable. They had a common interest and they were about the same age. So they were just like, let's be friends. That's how kids act.
That's how kids become friends, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't like the bully.
I liked the bully.
I was bullied in school, man.
I liked the bully's haircut. I liked his big lips and his
stupid face.
Yeah, his ridiculous face and his bad attitude.
And no one was scolding him. None of the teachers were like, hey, don't do that. They were just like, you kids.
Yeah, pretty much. But that gets you on the side of the main characters. It puts you on their side because like justice isn't being served, so you want them to succeed. You want them to beat the bully.
Other than having...
There's a reason for that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I loved the music though.
Yeah.
Whoever's
sounds nice.
Whoever's playing is fantastic.
I read somewhere that they hired, concert pianists to play different songs and on like different skill levels as well to simulate different skill levels. Because like the teacher,
they recorded them in concert halls as well, so that that's like actually how it sounded. Yeah, rather than trying to approximate it with reverb.
You know the scene where the teacher's playing Little Brown Jug and Kai.
Yeah, he messes up twice.
Yeah, he's like, your left hand was slower.
Yep.
So you could kind of hear that. You can hear a false note when you're listening. So they did as well as they could on the music. But a lot of other anime have, like you mentioned Kids in the Slope. There's Hibiki Euphonium as well. And one of the major anime from the last few years, Your Lie in April. It was like a romance tragedy classical music series that I really couldn't stand, but it was also, focused on classical music, and they got authentic recordings of it and stuff. So that's almost an expectation that I would have for this series.
I would too, but that doesn't mean that I wasn't any less floored by the performances.
Floored.
They were good.
Yeah, they were good. They were probably the best thing about the show. But I liked the kids, and I thought the CG was fine.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on this point. Where did you rank this? Put it fourth, huh?
Yeah.
9th.
Okay. So 6.5 is the average. 4, 9, 6.5. So this one we will not be talking about, and that's okay. I'm okay with this. Last time, all of your top 5 picks, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we ended up talking about, and so far we're still on track for that.
Quite possibly. Wait,
what's the next one we're doing?
Next one is Lupin, the third, part 5.
All right. Is this your first time ever watching anything Lupin related?
Yes, it is.
Cool. So I'm interested in I've seen some Lupin stuff. I'm not a Lupin nerd or a Lupin expert, but I've seen Castle of Cagliostro, which is the 70s film that Miyazaki did, the Lupin characters. I've seen a couple of TV series, Lupin TV series from before this. I've seen a special here and there. So I have my thoughts about how it compares, but how do you feel about Lupin just in general?
Just as a character, or the show specifically we watched?
The show.
I really liked it.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I love things about heist movies, like the Ocean's movies in America are some of my favorite. And
Lupin definitely predates the Ocean movies.
The Italian Job,
I know you really like the Italian Job. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the original?
What do you mean the original?
The original Italian Job from the 1970s. The 03 was a remake.
I know that there was an original. No, I haven't seen it. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you've seen the original.
But it's so much better than the remake.
I'm sure it is. Wasn't Mark Wahlberg in the new Italian Job?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the original is going to be better because Mark Wahlberg isn't in it. That's just a fact.
Of course.
So you liked the heist element?
I liked the heist element. I liked the music.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Very classic Lupin music.
Yeah.
It always uses the same kind of theme.
It's also
a different.
It's also the music is styled after the country they're in a little
bit.
In France.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that.
Lupin Part 4 was set in Italy, and there was more of an Italian flair to the music and the setting. And now we do have the French sound.
I loved the hand-drawn car chase.
Yeah, that was my favorite part.
That was really cool.
The helicopters were a little strange because they didn't move through space like the car did. They kind of just moved from side to side.
Yeah.
But the car moving around, like taking those
turning and
flipping over and swerving, drifting, it's just mwah,
Yeah.
just like a feast.
Yeah, it was really cool. I like Lupin's cast of characters. They're very unique rather than, they're all sort of, tropes in a heist.
Oh, they definitely
the heist movie tropes. You've got the overly skilled thief who is Lupin.
Right.
You've got the
master thief. Yeah.
The guy who's too old for this, who always uses a revolver and a trench coat. There's one who's in all of those.
I don't think it's a trench coat that Jigen wears.
I mean, it kind of looks like it. It's
just a jacket.
He looks like an American PI from the 70s.
Yeah, and he's got his little goatee. Like. He's got the what kind of hat is he wearing? Like a fedora?
No, something? It's like a.
I don't know what hats are called.
I don't know what hats are called either.
But he always wears that hat.
Yeah,
like the main four characters are Lupin, Jigen, Goemon, who's the samurai. He always like cuts bullets and he cuts through cars. He's just like a superhuman.
He gets on the roof and I'm like, all right, what is he gonna do? And he cuts down 2 trees from on the car. I was like, what?
he's always doing stuff like that, dating back, like 40 years.
Wow.
At least because Lupin's older than 40 years old. I don't know exactly when the original Monkey Punch comic was published, but it's a storied franchise. And then the last main character is Fujiko, the redheaded woman, not the girl,
right,
who they rescued.
You see her
at the
see
very
a news
end.
broadcast at the very end,
right?
Yeah,
and then the ED is also like mostly shots of her,
right, without clothes.
Yeah, well, she's like the femme fatale. She's always portrayed very sexually,
right.
But I was kind of interested in the ED because it seems to be hinting at like Fujiko being more interested in Lupin romantically. Like the scene where she gets up out of bed and adieu is written in lipstick on the pillowcase.
Yeah. And
it's kind of implied based on what goes on before that in the ED that it's like maybe Lupin that she's sleeping with or that she's seeing or something. Or maybe that was just my imagination.
I don't know anything else about the series, so I don't have any like insider thought on that really.
Right. Well, one thing that's consistent within every like Lupin movie, TV show, whatever, is that Lupin is like very into Fujiko and wants to sleep with her, but she never does. Like she always teases him, but never jumps into bed with him.
Right.
And so I mean, this ED is probably just another gigantic tease. But I've seen enough Lupin to like want to see the two of them get together just because it's teased like every episode of
for 40 years.
Yeah. So I think that would be interesting if they did that, but probably never going to happen. That's just the way the show is.
I also liked the modern premise for the heist, stealing essentially Bitcoin.
Yeah, that was the modernization was definitely the word of the day for this installment of Lupin. He's like a super hacker.
When was the last?
And they use like wingsuits and stuff to dive down into the thing. That was very goofy to me. But I thought
it was goofy cool. I thought it was goofy cool though.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I thought it was a little too much in places, but I do, I liked it. There's the Spot Lupin game as well, where people have to take selfies with
like a hashtag Spot Lupin.
Yeah. Yeah, and that game is set up by the league of deep web villains that you see when in that like montage when they're stealing all the money.
Yeah.
There's that I'm kind of interested in that there will be like a series of bad guys who he has to like butt heads with or
outsmart.
Yeah. I don't think that, I mean, Lupin Part 4, which directly preceded this one and had the same art style, same team and everything, it didn't have anything like that. There was a big overarching story, but it wasn't as though there was like a league of bad guys, a group of antagonists. So I'm interested to see what the show does with that.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
I did too. I really liked it.
What? Did you rank it?
I actually misranked Hinamatsuri. It's third. Lupin's second.
Okay, so
I messed up.
So go ahead and fix it on the little chart there. I'm sure Hinamatsuri will still. So if I put it fourth, question mark, what did I put it?
You didn't put it fourth.
Oh,
Piano was
right.
Fourth.
I put it fifth.
Fifth.
And you put it what? Second?
Second.
All right. You know the average?
3.5.
Yeah. Add them and divide by 2, man. Okay. I mean, it's looking like Lupin, Hinamatsuri, and Megalo Box will all get it.
Yeah.
So only like 2 more, I guess.
All right. So up next is My Hero Academia, episode 40.
Right. So we're going to be mostly focusing on the second episode of this third season.
Yeah, because
First one was
39 was partly a recap, but there actually was a lot of original material in it.
Yeah, but I mean, how much was it?
It was a
worth?
pool episode. Yeah.
And there was the scene where Eraser explains to the new teacher. He literally goes through the quirks of every single student in his class, and there's like 18 or 20 of them.
Yeah, but just Class A, not Class B.
Yeah,
screw those guys.
Right. We got to see Class B a little bit.
Yep.
And they're apparently going on this summer training camp. Although we didn't see them in episode 40 at all, did we?
Maybe they're going to a different one because I remember they had to move Class A's location at the last minute.
They did say something about that to like shake off the League of Villains. We were just talking about a League of Villains in Lupin. There's a League of Villains in this show too. Okay, here I have a question for you about what happened last season because I know you recently caught up on this show.
Yeah.
I remember in the very last episode, so episode 38, I suppose. What's his name? I put his name down. It's like Tomura, the guy with the hands who's always scratching himself.
Yeah.
And is like really edgy. How did he threaten Deku exactly at the mall? What did he say? Do you remember? Because they're at the mall. He and like Ochako are at the mall together. And they get split up and Deku's on his own. And then Tomura, I think is his name, approaches Deku and he's like,
it was a fairly standard villain fair threat.
So it was just generic.
It was just like I'm gonna hurt your friends and your family, and I'm gonna take down the system. And yeah, I'll check out my hands.
I honestly think he is such a shitty villain because he's just been even ever since like the middle of season 1 when he was introduced. Around then, he's been going on the same spiel about how like All Might, he's always smiling, and that's just bullcrap, dude. Because like you shouldn't be smiling because like. It's just not, the world is just not like, you shouldn't be smiling in the world because the world is just like a bad place and you shouldn't be smiling. And I don't like All Might. And I'm always scratching myself.
You know why
awful.
though, right?
No, not really.
Because if what he touches something, it crumbles. So he can't like really scratch himself that much. Otherwise.
But he does scratch himself that much. He does nothing but scratch himself because he's completely ineffectual as a villain. They just keep cutting to him and he's like, I don't like All Might. I don't like the hero killer because he's stealing the spotlight. I don't like All Might or anyone who steals the spotlight.
Please name me a well put together shonen villain.
Orochimaru. Before the time skip.
So
he was cool.
The first 120 episodes.
Yeah, or more.
200 if you count the fillers.
Orochimaru for sure. That's just the one that's coming to my head. I haven't seen any Dragon Ball. I haven't watched enough One Piece. Bleach, all the villains were kind of lame. And there are plenty of other shonen, of course. I'm just naming the huge ones because I don't have a lot of expertise. But
right.
The guy's just awful. Stain was a lot better, but even his spiel was still like, here it's the system is corrupt, man. And heroes, like they don't stand for anything anymore, and I'm gonna kill them to prove that.
And kill the fake heroes.
Yeah,
the heroes who aren't in it for actually saving people.
Yeah, but why would you kill them? What was his motivation? I don't remember.
Well, he killed villains as well.
What was his backstory though? Did we ever get it?
That's a good question.
There didn't seem to be like. Obviously, there was a motive. His motive was, the world is like, like heroes don't stand for anything anymore, so I'm going to kill them.
In every place, where he had killed heroes, crime went down.
Yeah,
every time.
That's the real issue that I have with the show is like there is no moral ambiguity. The show tries to have it both ways, and to like. Portray Stain as, he's actually right though. Like he's actually bringing crime down and he's actually concerned about, the authenticity of heroes and the purity of their motives. But no, that's not true. Like he's just killing people. And so our main character's got to get together and fight him in an alleyway and beat him.
Yep.
And then
in a really cool fight, by the way.
In this episode, that little kid, the nephew of the Pussycats or whatever their name is. His character is just written in so that he can eventually be amazed by Deku, and
I'm pretty sure he's also the one that told the League of Villains where they are.
That kid?
Yeah.
No way.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
I don't think so, dude.
I do.
Okay, well, I think his primary purpose is just to be like, I don't like heroes because my parents were heroes and they died. It's very sad. But then, you know, Deku's going to be like nice to him and he's going to save the day with his Detroit Smash, Brooklyn Punch powers. And then the kid's going to be like, wow. Because there's a point in this episode where Deku is like ruminating to himself about people all over the world have different perspectives. And when I heard that kid say that, I couldn't say a thing. And then there's a shot of the cosmos. It's just, I don't know if you remember that like particular sequence, but there's a shot of like the night sky and the stars are really bright and there's a whole bunch of like, ooh, just beautiful colors. Just shonen series suck. They have such terrible writing. They're for babies. I hate everything.
And yet you're caught up.
I sure am, dude. So obviously I didn't like this episode very much, but it looks great as always. Thoughts?
It's an episode of a shonen series.
Yeah. How did you like? There was a big focus on not just Deku, Todoroki, Bakugo, and what's his face, Ida.
Yeah,
like those are the main four.
Yep.
I said half their names wrong, but there's usually like a big focus on them, and everybody else like to hell with them. At least it got to be that way in the Stain arc. But in this episode, there was a lot of focus on all the other classmates and stuff. How did do you like that technique?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think you have a ton of different characters. You should use all of them, you know, rather than hearing the same people say the same thing because every character is going to be as one-dimensional as humanly possible. You know, if you have a bunch of characters that are one-dimensional, it almost starts to be two-dimensional.
Oh, wow. I guess you're right, dude. The secret strategy of Boku no Hero's success
is a huge cast so that they can write everyone differently enough that if you put them all together, they are one functioning human.
Right. I don't know. I think it's kind of silly that there are so many characters.
It's a school.
I know it's a school.
Oh, it's a school with 6 people.
I know it's a school, and that's like a hallmark of shonen series is that they just overload you with characters so that everybody can find one that they really like. You know, they're just going for the biggest audience possible. It's a strategy. But I feel like it's not very effective. You know, a bunch of those characters, 75% of them will just blend into the background after a while. And some of them, even when the show attempts to focus on them and make them look vaguely heroic, it doesn't even work. Like the guy who can talk to animals. Remember the fight where they're fighting the dirt monsters?
Right.
And he's like, birds of the forest, do something. And then all the birds fly by and do literally nothing. They're just in the scene.
I thought it was interesting how
that guy's character design also sucks shit.
I also thought it was interesting how everyone, after they come out of the forest, is like exhausted and collapsed, and he's holding his throat because he almost never speaks.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah,
that's kind of fun. I missed that. There was one other character who I made a note of it. One other character,
the electricity guy.
No, he put 1.3 million volts into a guy, and I was hoping it would do nothing because he's
made of earth.
Yeah,
as it should have done literally nothing.
Yeah, didn't the people who wrote this show play Pokemon?
Obviously not.
Yeah. But there was one other guy who didn't do. Who was it? Oh, Invisible Girl. She just acted as bait.
Right.
A character literally says, "Thanks for acting as bait."
Yes, I remember.
I'm laughing about it. It's kind of funny, but
well, it's because she doesn't actually have any superpowers other than the fact that she can't be seen.
That's a superpower. If she would just not wear like clothes. Yeah, I mean, then it would be like, oh, she's naked. She's a girl. I'm gonna climb this wall with my grape powers and see all the naked people. If she were just naked all the time, she
wouldn't even be in the show.
Yeah,
she just wouldn't be there.
I guess, yeah. It's kind of funny that there's always an empty uniform and it's her, but she, like everyone else, is, you know, apart from like the main 5, is not really going to receive any big like any major attention or characterization.
Well, she hasn't yet, at least.
Yeah.
A couple of the side characters have.
I guess. Yeah.
I do like the premise of the training camp, how they showed that Bakugo hasn't gotten any stronger. Like he throws the baseball and it goes 4 more feet,
right?
Rather than last time.
Or meters. They don't use feet in Japan. Wouldn't it be meters?
Meters, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, that's true. That's
so
the
only
way
12 more feet.
That's the way that Eraser explains it. Eraserhead or whatever his name is. That they're going to work on their quirks specifically now, as if they haven't been doing that all the time.
Well, he explained.
I know, but that's a very like shonen explanation. Like, oh, there's going to be another training arc, and it's about this time.
Yeah,
they were working on their quirks before, just using their quirks in like the that tournament where everybody comes and watches them, and
right. But
they get recruited.
That
afterwards.
was a total amount of time of them using their quirks of maybe 5 minutes for each of them.
It only feels that way because you're watching a TV show.
Right, but some of the fights were over in literal seconds.
Yeah, but they were all using their quirks. Like if you're using them and if you're working towards a goal by using your superpower, you're training with it.
I mean, the only person who's really training was Deku. Because he went from breaking his hand.
Well, it's because he's the main character.
Yeah, he is. He has to get stronger.
I'm just not that into Boku no Hero.
I don't know. I mean, I watched the entire second season in a day.
That's scary.
Or in a 24-hour period, excuse me. But yeah,
that's a day.
I liked it.
Okay, cool.
It's probably because of the massive amount of superhero movies over here. So I'm kind of like, hey, superheroes are cool.
Doesn't that just make you sick of it, though?
Not really.
Okay. Well, I mean,
because it's done
you're in the majority on that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How did you? How'd you rank it?
I put Academia at number 4.
I put it 6th.
Okay. Academia 4. 6. Average 5.
Okay. What's next?
Inazuma 11. Why did we do this again?
I kind of liked it. I mean, I don't think it was good or anything. I should clarify by saying I don't think it was a work of art. But I kind of liked it.
It had a Saturday morning cartoon kind of vibe.
Yeah, or like a kid show, the kind of thing that would be on Kids WB.
Its plot was as fast paced as ramen's.
Yeah.
So many things happening. Quick, we like soccer. What? We can't play soccer anymore. Mom's dying. Yeah. Wait, we're going overseas. Yeah. Wait, we're fighting the greatest team in the league. It's been 20 minutes. What?
Oh yeah, we should probably clarify that even though the first 2 episodes got released at the same time in Japan,
we didn't watch both.
They were subbed as a package on the website where you can find subtitles if you didn't start watching anime in like the last year and you're not familiar with anything except legal streaming sites. This show has been subbed. And
by a subgroup that specifically does Inazuma 11.
Yeah, well, by 2 groups, and I think we got the one that does Inazuma whenever there's a new release, because this is like a video game franchise dating back to the mid-2000s-ish.
I guess. I don't know.
And like Pokemon, there's going to be a new series whenever there's a new season, I suppose. And I kind of got a Pokemon vibe while watching this show. Like, it's for kids, and the thing about his mom dying, that was the craziest part to me. Like, if her condition is so severe that she might die, how is he not aware of the fact that she might be passing soon? He just shows up to the hospital and
Mom, you can't die. It's okay. I'll always be with you.
No, she doesn't say I'll always be with you. She says soccer will always be with you.
And then dies.
and then after that, after his club is disbanded, his favorite football field is like,
demolished.
Demolished. And his mom dies. His friends are like talking about him. Do you think he's going to be okay? Oh yeah, he'll be fine. He's just at a place called Cliff Peak after the death of his mother. They're the worst friends in history. It's literally called Cliff Peak.
That may have been intentional.
I'm sure it was. Well, yeah. Well, it's just ridiculous. And then of course they transfer to a school in Tokyo so that they can join this. What was the deal with the principal seeming evil?
I don't know, Mo.
And then him facilitating their trip to this new school.
Well, if it's a kids show, it's adults are the enemy.
Yeah, there was a definite like disdain for adults and for like rules and like society, man, in this show.
Well, isn't society in Japan a drag?
Society everywhere is a drag.
I suppose that's true, but especially.
Yeah, but like the principal was, his glasses were always
sinister. They like reflected. They did the glint when he moved them, and
the coach of their team, the guy with the Chinese looking,
it looks
outfit,
like an ancient wise man. He's always grinning.
He also looks evil, but he's their coach, right?
We never see him coach them. We just see him sitting on the sidelines once the game starts.
Yeah.
They go to the school. No one greets them. No one's bringing them there. It's a bunch of 12-year-olds just traveling across the ocean.
I also assumed they were 12. Was that ever stated anywhere? Yeah. They say something about the only potential teams that we can play on this island are elementary school students and old people.
Which assumes that
they're not in elementary school, was my guess. Like they're probably middle schoolers or something.
I love the dude that just looks like a box.
Yeah. And he ends everything. He ends all of his sentences with the same like little catchphrase, little verbal tick. It's like Egozaru or something.
Egozaru.
I think it's like a type of formal speech. He's supposed to be, like a very formal, very
stoic.
Yeah, kind of warrior type. I'm sure that in the video game, his role is, he's like a defender or something. He's a wall, but he's not the goalie.
Maybe that's his superpower. Maybe he builds a wall.
Maybe. Yeah, because everyone has superpowers. What are they called in this show? Did you
I didn't write it down.
I did. Let me find it.
They'll have quirks.
Yeah. Pretty much. Speaking of Boku no Hero. They're called Hisatsu techniques. I can't remember what Hisatsu means.
Fire lemonade.
Yeah. So fire tornado, and which the guy thinks is fire lemonado. And then the main villain, like the guy, the edgy guy with
death
the gray hair.
Gate.
Yes, open the death gate. That's the cliffhanger. What does that mean? I'm scared.
I saw the start of the next episode because I wasn't sure where the break was entirely.
Yeah.
And so like three of them form a triangle, and then he kicks the ball in this like purple swirling mass of energy. Like Gengar used Shadow Ball, flies in. Like they all try to like jump in front of it, and they all get like bowled out of the way, and they're knocked on the ground and injured.
I'm actually, even if we don't pick this show up, which I kind of doubt we will, I'm going to watch the second episode. Like I just want to see 20 something more minutes of this show and like see the superpowers and stuff.
I mean, both of those scenes like looked good.
Both of what scenes? Oh, the one that you saw in the beginning of the second episode,
and the fire tornado.
Yeah, I just want to see.
I got this huge grin on my face when he did it. I was just like,
it's cool.
It is cool.
If the show stops trying to be like plausibly character based, which it totally fails at, but it's it's a kid show. It's fine. If it stops being that and starts being all about the sports, I might honestly watch it, just because it's like funny. It makes me laugh, and it's reasonably well animated.
Yeah, I do think that the cast of characters does look like they played Tales of Symphonia and hit random on the character generator.
I kind of like the how different all the characters are. It definitely seems like it's from a video game. All the characters looking different and being of different sizes probably means they all have different powers. Oh my gosh, do you remember when one of the guys on the other team says their speed is 17% above our projections,
right?
Or the data we were given, or something like that. You know what that reminded me of was Skyward Sword. When
I never played Skyward Sword.
The spirit of the Master Sword is like personified as a character called Fee, and she's always telling Link, there's like a 90% chance of failure if you enter this room, or there's a 60% chance of success, or that seems to be something that Japanese people do. I see that all the time in anime. Stuff being expressed as percentages of skill or success rate.
Maybe they're all taught statistics from an early age.
Yeah, or like percentiles, like being in the top 10%, or I'm sure that it comes from their educational system. It's just something interesting to note. It's very, very weird because Americans like us are so much more free, man. We just have freedom in our blood.
Yep.
Watch, let me go ahead and spill some right now. Oh, look at that freedom.
It's just a bald eagle.
Emerging from my wrists.
Yes.
I think we lost the thread here.
Just a tad.
What'd you rank Inazuma 11?
I think I put
Eris, no whatever.
I put it dead last.
Okay. I put it 7th.
Oh wow, okay. Inazuma. Well, it wasn't gonna win either way.
No. But I think it's fun.
The average is 8.5.
That's right. Yeah, that'll probably finish last.
I'm learning to math.
Sure are. How many more shows we got? Just 2?
We got 2 more.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
We're not missing one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
You must.
Oh, Franxx.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
we're
more.
actually going to do Franxx next.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. This is episode 14.
Yes, it is.
Some happenings occurred in this episode after the revelations of the last one.
There is some relationshiping.
There sure is.
The love triangle gets its third post.
No, it's a love quadrangle.
Quadrangle.
Goro is in there.
Oh yeah, no, because he bows out during this episode.
I know, but don't you think that at the end? I mean, you know where it's going. Hiro's going to end up with 02, and Ichigo's going to be with Goro, unless maybe Goro dies. Honestly, I think the death flag is pretty clear for him. Like he already confessed his love, and he's already
lost to Hiro.
Yeah, well, yeah, quote unquote lost.
But yeah, it's not
the Japanese version of losing.
Yeah,
I lost to him.
Well, also
it's my loss.
Yep. We'll see.
I'm pretty sure he's going to die. Like, because he's so supportive of Hiro. So Goro's death will probably motivate Hiro to power up and go into beast mode and sync with 02 and beat all the Klaxosaurs and beat the probably Ape, like the actual villains, the guys who are pulling all the strings. They'll probably be defeated as well. And then there will be a happy ending.
Or we could be completely wrong.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
This show has failed to
subvert expectations.
Yeah, 14 episodes in, I haven't really been surprised by any of it. So,
I was a little surprised that 02 beat the crap out of everyone, and then Hiro's just like,
"But I love you."
Yeah, well, I mean, at least it took him a day rather than "Oh, it's okay, don't worry, they'll be fine."
Yeah, he tells her you're not even human in this moment. And then it cuts away from the scene.
You are a monster.
Like, how much weight is there to his proclamation that, this girl I really like, she's not human. I'm conflicted. What do I do? If you immediately cut away from that and then it's the next day, how?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Doesn't give it any weight.
Obviously, she's she really wants to be human and she loves her darling and he doesn't accept her. And, it's sad because she has pink hair and we're supposed to like her because she has pink hair. And
her horns got larger.
Yeah, they keep getting bigger. She's becoming less human.
Less human.
So she's going back with the 9s now.
9-9.
What? Brooklyn 99? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay. This is an anime podcast, bro.
Man.
Only Wire references will be tolerated.
Oma.
Oma coming. Did you like this episode?
A little bit. Not it wasn't my favorite episode, but it wasn't my least favorite.
What was your favorite episode?
Episode 11.
Same.
Yeah.
Just for the visuals.
The same reason. I think that's the draw for this show.
But, except that there's only been one episode where the visuals have been any good.
Well, there's been one where they stood out. I think they were good for other parts of it. We just disagree on that.
Did you see the scene near the start of this episode where Hiro is kind of slumping over in the cockpit?
Yeah.
And Ichigo, I think, is the one who catches him. At that point, she's burst in and gotten 02 out of there. The way that he slumps over has no consistency. There's no consistency to the modeling. It's just a bunch of individual drawings. He doesn't look like a person or a character anymore. He just looks like shapes arranged in a vaguely human form. And this is not the first time that the show has devolved to this level of visual incoherence.
How many shows is A1 doing this right now?
I don't know.
Way too many.
They're a big studio, but this is a collaboration between them
and Trigger.
And it's a 2-core show, so hopefully a decent amount of resources have been invested in it, but it just doesn't look how it ought to look. In a mech show, like consistency is important. And I'm just not like even the mechs don't look consistent when they're moving around. I don't like it. I just don't like it, man.
like it.
And I don't like the characters either. That's the real. I mean, we can talk about the visuals all we want, but I don't like the characters. That's my real issue.
Yeah.
I don't think 02, whatever, like what she's going through. I don't think. I don't care. You know, I don't care if she becomes human, or you know, if that she's always chewing on her fingernails and they're like bruised and her hands are bruised and bloody. She's been doing that for how many episodes now? Like 3 probably. And
maybe that's actually makeup. Like her whole skin isn't, like she's been painted over essentially, and her like chewing on herself.
And what about the beach episode?
Huh? Maybe it's water
off?
resistant. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, some sort of experiment was conducted on her. Now, here's a question I have. Is she like a demon and she's in human form now as a result of an experiment? Or was she a human at one point and she gained that demonic form, or the little red chibi form, as a result of experiments?
I think that's how she was.
Okay.
She was always
I think I
I
misinterpreted that in the last episode. So she's the red devil thing, and she's probably like a Klaxosaur baby, or maybe she's the child of a human and a Klaxosaur. Forbidden love. And she represents...
Or she's just an experiment.
Yeah, it's something. It's not clear.
No.
You know? I wish the show would hurry up and clarify some of this stuff.
And then get on with it.
Yeah, it is getting on with it. You know, there was a big Kisu moment in this episode, and 02's going away and Hiro's sad about it and all that. So big development, but did you like the kiss scene or any of the stuff with Ichigo being like really protective of Hiro, visiting him in the hospital?
I thought that that all the characters conforming to Ichigo's will the entire time.
She is the leader.
I know she is the leader, but like no one speaks out, no one voices their opinion until 02 is about to BTFO someone, and they're like, "Wait, no, I actually feel this way. We should let them talk."
Wait, when is 02 about to blow
02's
somebody
made up her mind to go see Hiro.
Right.
And she throws Goro across the room.
Yeah, and then he's the one who sticks up for her.
Right. And so does
Futoshi or Kokoro.
Kokoro, yeah.
The baby girl.
Yes.
With the book.
Yep. Baby book. Made you look. Now you're in the baby book.
Yeah, she's definitely in the baby book. What I can't remember what you were saying. Like you thought it was weird that they all went along with Ichigo until Goro got thrown across the room.
Yeah,
I guess.
And then I think all of a sudden they were like, you know what?
No, I think that makes total sense because they realized 02 is just gonna beat them all up,
which she did anyways. So
well, she beat one of them up.
No, and then all of them in the hospital.
Oh yes, that's true.
Because they all went together.
You don't see it. It just the show just cuts
all on
straight
the ground.
To those great fight animation as always.
Yep, not even there. So good it's invisible.
Just like what's her face from My Hero Academia. I'm pretty tired of both of those shows.
Okay.
Anything stand out for you in this episode, or any questions you have about like where it might go from here? Any thoughts in general?
I have lots of thoughts. I'd actually like to see 02 and Hiro be apart for longer than just one episode, which is probably, it's only going to be just the end and the start of next episode.
No, I think they're probably going to be apart for a while. If I had to guess.
And maybe she'll devolve back to her red self because of it.
Yeah, or even if she doesn't become little red ogre again.
Well, she won't be little, she'll be big red ogre.
Right. She's going to become more, I think with the nines, they're probably similar to her. Like they're closer, they're, part Klaxosaur.
She doesn't ride with them though.
Oh, that's true.
They provided like a bunch of people for her to use essentially.
But okay, so I'm wrong about that then, or I'm probably wrong about that. But regardless, I think what's going to happen in her time apart from all the parasites, all the main team of parasites, the main characters, is she's going to become like more and more animalistic and wild and going back to the way she was, where she's like, just callously disregarding human life. And then eventually she'll be reunited with Hiro and he'll teach her how to be human and how to love.
I don't think
end.
it'll take that long. I think it'll be maybe an episode.
Oh, okay, I'm thinking more like 3 or 4 episodes, to be honest.
I don't know which of us is giving the show more credit. You or me.
That's a good question. I rank this one pretty low because I have no interest in continuing to talk about it.
Okay.
So how about you? What'd you do with it?
Let's check. I put Darling in the Franxx at number 8.
I put it at number 9.
Okay. Definitely not covering it.
Yes, it's dropped.
Only took us a whole season.
Yeah, well, a whole like cour or whatever.
Are you surprised I didn't put it higher?
So it actually ties for last with
Inazuma 11.
11. I'd say, dude, I actually think Inazuma 11 is more interesting than this show. I'd be more willing to watch another episode of Super Soccer Kids than
Mario Strikers, the anime.
I would definitely watch that. Are you kidding?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because it would look amazing.
And to me, Inazuma 11 is kind of the same thing, but with a different skin on it.
All right. Next, let's do Juushinki Pandora.
Okay. So this is a satellite show.
This is your dead last one, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I figured it was.
I think it belongs dead last.
Why is that?
Because there was nothing, like before we started, talking about all the shows, the way we kind of approached it was we would think about something we liked, something we didn't, and something like a question or a change we might make in the episode or something. For this episode, I don't
think of anything you liked.
I don't think there is one redeeming quality to it.
Really?
I think it looks like ass. I think there's way too much technobabble in place of characterization. I think the CG mechs are gross, and the backgrounds are like vomit colored. I think that the main character is annoying, and he's some kind of scientist, so I'm supposed to like him, and I don't. I think that his little sister is irritating, and that all the other characters are like no names, and they don't really matter because the main scientist guy is just so awesome and cool. The only thing that I think is kind of neat is the idea that like a world-altering event would occur, and AI would be fused with organic material like plants and animals, because that's the premise of this show.
Right.
But
the
it's just so silly. The show doesn't really commit to that premise apart from, so this is what we're using to explain why the enemies look this way, and now the main guy has to fight them, and so enjoy these gross looking fights and these non-characters. Well, I mean, would you deny that there's an insane amount of technobabble that makes very little sense, and that the characters are all totally flat, cardboard cutout garbage pieces of trash? Do you remember any of their names?
Shut up, no.
Can you describe their personalities?
Yeah, you have the bounty hunters that act like bounty hunters. You have the rich people who act like rich people, and then you have the scientists who act like a scientist, and the little girl who acts like a little girl.
What characterization? What wit?
What every other anime?
No, that's not true. Hinamatsuri had some pretty nice character evolution going on in just like 20 minutes.
Most anime, then. Excuse me.
No, I don't think that.
Let me rephrase.
I don't think that's true either, dude. For the blog that I write for, I actually watched a whole bunch of like garbage series, but even those shows did a better job establishing at least their main character than this one. So I hated it. I hated every second of it.
Okay, I did not hate it. I kind of liked it.
Yeah. Well, I thought you might. Can you like what'd you like most about it?
I love post-apocalyptic stuff. It's a setting that I really adore. I think it's really easy to do, or it's a good setting for lots of different types of stories, because civilization's fractured, people are pushed to their extremes, and you can use it to tell human stories.
Yeah, I think that's true.
As well as I like the visual style of like destroyed cities and like overgrown buildings. I think those look cool.
Yeah. Okay.
I liked the concept, like you mentioned, of the bride, how inorganic and organic life kind of fused and became, crabs turned into giant robots.
Yeah, giant robot crabs that spew terrible looking CG acid out of their claws, mouth,
Nose wasn't really clear.
some sort of orifice.
Yes.
Don't you think it looked like abysmal?
No, I really don't.
I do not understand. I just keep thinking of your love of like this and the bear.
I liked the design of the mechs, how they all had to be mobile because they're fighting such a massive enemy. So most of them are either wheeled or they have to fly somehow.
Yeah,
and
they,
so when
they transform. Or
so when
right?
no, they don't. When they see one that transforms and looks like a human, that's weird.
Right.
And
that's how you know that the main character is the main character guy.
Yeah.
Because he has the special mech, because he's special.
I didn't like his multi-dimensional attack. I thought that was just dumb. Especially considering he literally said multi-dimensional attack.
Oh my gosh. There was a line of dialogue in here somewhere that was like, the overdrive is now in hyperdrive. Do you remember that?
Do you also remember how this isn't, English as a first language sub?
Yeah, the sub is not great. But okay, let's say you've got somebody who doesn't speak very good English or doesn't know a lot of Japanese.
Those are two very specific words, though.
Yes,
that'd be hard
what
to
the
mess
guy
up.
is saying is like what he's intending to say is what is he intending to say? It's almost impossible to parse that phrase.
Well, he's trying to build. He's the scientist who's responsible for the world being the way it is at the moment.
I did not understand that while watching.
He is.
Okay. I mean, I know he's in exile because he did something wrong.
Right. And he caused the world to essentially end.
Okay. Cool.
And so he's trying to recreate the technology that he used.
So he can undo it.
In order to undo it. Right.
Yeah.
And so he finally figures out the missing element was humans. It always is.
Right. Yeah. You got to be human in the robot thing.
Right. Well, it's just a human next to the reaction because they were there when it went off. So being next to it, trying to, anyways, whatever.
The show opens on him like doing that little stakeout science experiment test on that some sort of
robot.
Yeah, no, not a robot, like some kind of reactor or generator.
Yeah. And like a quantum generator.
Yeah, as soon as I saw what that thing was and him talking about like, the stasis in limbo is 0.2 nanotrons away from the gravity influxerator. As soon as that happened in like the first 2 minutes, I was just like, this is not going to end well. And sure enough, it didn't.
I thought it was a better looking show than the last work of theirs that we watched.
Ramen's?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the first episode, so it's the one that they need to hook people.
At least there aren't just rays coming from every direction.
I thought it looked like pretty gross.
I mean, it was fairly, earth tony, but that's the setting.
Yeah, not just that. I thought all the characters were. There was one guy who looked like Jet from Bebop. Did you see him?
Yeah, I did. The old grizzled guy.
You do a pretty good Jet. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. But I thought they were all like, and remember the one lady with like the huge tits?
Yep, the princess.
And like when you're first introduced to her character, the camera is literally on her chest, not showing even a bit of her face. Yep. And then it pans up. That was
from the perspective of the dude that was with her, who's just leering at her.
Yeah. I guess you got to entice people to watch your show somehow.
Every anime does that. That's not true. Most anime do that. And at some point you said that you have to like overlook that. Like when we were first watching Darling in the Franxx, and I was like, this is just ridiculous and over the top. And you're like, yeah, but do you expect anything different from the studio Trigger who did Kill la Kill? I mean, that show was all about sexuality, but this time they're just using it rather than with a precision scalpel, they're using it like a sledgehammer. Remember that?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay, so then you're not allowed to complain about this.
That's not true, dude, because Darling in the Franxx never had a shot where the camera literally starts on someone's chest from the point of view of the character riding next to them with gigantic like K-cup tits and then moves up to her face.
But
that's way worse than anything from Darling in the Franxx.
Another show we watched did that.
What's that?
It was the one with Chisei, and
yeah. But see, in that series, the character, I'm actually not convinced that there was ever a shot that was like on her chest and then moved up to her face. Maybe there was. But in that show, it makes sense. It makes sense for a character to be, endowed like that because she's the goddess of fertility and nature and stuff. In this show, it's literally just, okay, well, we
watch our show. We have boobs.
Yeah. I mean, and you're right that a lot of anime do that. That's kind of I wouldn't say it's a staple because of the 10 shows we watched in preparation for this podcast, how many did it? 1.
2.
What was the other?
The bath shot in Boku no Hero Academia.
Yeah, but that's not...
And the whole episode where they're supposed to be like at a pool and there's a shot that pans from all of them in bikinis from the other dude's imagination.
Yeah, Mineta or whatever the grape guy's name is.
Yeah.
Grape-kun.
Grape-kun.
Yeah. But at least his character represents the idea that like young boys are going through puberty and they're hormonal. And I mean, his character is dumb. Don't get me wrong. And it's silly that that's such a big part of that show and shonen series in general is like, oh man, girls are so great, aren't they? I really love boobies.
I don't think Naruto ever really did that.
Sure it did. Sexy no Jutsu.
I mean, it did it to just Naruto himself, but it didn't really do it to...
Think about Tsunade's character, what she looks like.
Yeah.
How she chooses to look because that's a put on. Like that she uses chakra or something to look like that because she's old.
Yeah.
She's old, man. Ew.
Ew, gross. Old. I don't know, but it wasn't like, proverbial or continual with all the other characters, was it?
Proverbial? What are you talking about?
I don't know. Never mind. We're getting way off track.
Yeah, we're supposed to be talking about Juushinki Pandora.
Fuck you.
I honestly think this was trash.
Okay, well,
it was incoherent. Can you explain what exactly the main character's goal was? Like what scientific process he was using in order to try and revert the world to the way it was, or how exactly his mech worked, or what all the other characters, like what their job is, or how he'll be brought into the fold. Like it's just a mess.
All right.
The science part of it makes no sense.
Well, that's because most people don't understand quantum mechanics.
No. It doesn't have to do with people not understanding it. Do you think the people who wrote this show understand quantum physics?
No, of course not.
No, they just
used a fancy technobabble word to make some fancy lights appear.
That's why it doesn't make much sense, because the people who are writing the show are just way out of their depth.
Isn't it an adaptation?
No, this is an original.
Oh wow, okay.
And it's from the guy. The character and mech designer from Macross. Maybe he's just the mech designer. I don't know. He's involved with this show, and I actually like Macross. And you can the characters look similar to Macross characters, but oh my God, we're already an hour and 30 minutes in. We gotta go.
Gotta go.
What did you?
Right
yeah,
now.
I ranked this last. What did you put it? Like 4th or something?
I can't remember. 1, 2, 3,
oh no, you
5.
All right, well, good. 7.5 is its rank.
All right.
At least you didn't put it, really high.
Frenchler 5, you 10.
So by process of elimination, we know what the other person ranked. I can't believe you ranked Maso-tan so low.
I don't know.
You put it 7th?
Yeah, I think so.
I put it 1st.
Yeah? Of course you did. I knew you were going to.
Well, how did you know?
Yeah, it's 7th for me.
Yeah. Once again, the show that I ranked 1st, you put real low. But not so low that we won't be covering it.
Yeah.
I got it in.
Hey, that's what she said.
It was my favorite. Megalo Box, a close second.
Honestly.
So why did you know that I was going to love this?
It's got the cute characters, and it's got like kind of cool animation, and a girl's the main character, and it's just it's pretty easy. You like things that are, it's kind of outside the box.
I wouldn't care if the main character was a man or a woman. I don't think it would make a bit of difference for me. The thing that's interesting is that, well, first of all, it's mostly the art. I mean, it is anime. It's short for animation. So the story's important. The characters are important. But this show just looks unbelievably good.
It's bones.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Mob Psycho, which we just finished watching and talking about.
It does, actually. I don't know, to me, it kind of looked like Mo Blobs if you scaled the heads down a little bit.
I think if you scaled the heads up, this show is what you would get. And remove the noses. No noses.
No, I mean, when I say Mo Blobs, the only frame of reference I have is Girls' Last Tour, and their heads were like 4 times the size of their bodies. They were almost chibi.
Definitely not true. Their bodies were way bigger than their heads.
Oh. Well,
and
then
this show
don't remember anything. Then.
This show is kind of similarly proportioned to Girls' Last Tour.
I didn't mind the art. I thought it actually looked kind of cool.
I minded the lack of noses. I thought that was weird because all the men have noses,
but the women
and the girls don't. When you're looking at them from profile point of view, sometimes you see them, and there are even shots of like weird angles where you can kind of see in the outline of their eye. There's like a little line that comes down indicating that their nose is kind of lined up with their eye. I guess I was bothered by the lack of noses, but it was another thing that I was bothered by was the spelling out of the girl's personality. How she was like, oh, I'm always saying exactly what I feel and I'm always ruining the mood. I just, it's just hard for me to be with other people because I'm always like so awkward and weird. I didn't like how blunt the show was about that. But I understood that she was just like looking for meaning and looking for a purpose. And she was able to find one, even though she resisted at first, and what she was doing was like bizarre and scary. I thought the show did a fine job of
you know what this show reminded me of?
What?
How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, that comparison's being thrown around all over the internet.
Yeah.
Except in this show, you get literally inside the dragon's belly where there's acid that will burn you if you don't have the proper uniform, and then you control it by like stepping on weird ulcer looking things inside of its stomach. It's strange. It's very strange.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
Too strange.
Too strange? Okay.
Like, you got to go out the right way or else you'll be shit out of a dinosaur.
I thought that was funny. That made me like kind of grin because they didn't say shit out. They said you might have to evacuate via the lower end. That just struck me as kind of quirky. That these are they're part of like the Japanese
SDF.
Yeah.
The
Civil Air Defense Force, whatever it's called.
Self-Defense Force, Air Force. Or Self-Defense Air Force, SDAF. Staff.
Right.
But her motivation for even joining the SDAF is she looked up, saw a plane, and wrote that down.
I don't think that she saw the plane and was like, whatever, that's as good as anything else. That it wasn't as though she had given no thought to it. But yeah, at the start, when everyone's talking in voiceover about how,
like, what are you going to do for the rest of your life?
It's time to fill out your career application survey and stuff. She goes into the military, and I don't know about Japan, but at least here, a lot of people join the military because they're, maybe this is unfair to say, but like they're lacking direction and they're not sure what they want to do,
or they want their college paid for.
Yeah, that's a reason. That's
the GI Bill. Yeah, for us at least. I don't know if other countries do that.
It's growing in popularity, like people going into the military to get their, to save a little money and to get some training and stuff.
Yep.
But it's also, I feel like the Army also, or the Self-Defense Force, whatever, Air Force, it's a place that people go when they're not sure what it is they want to do or where it is they want to go. And I think that's probably how it was for her. So that, I mean, she sees the plane, but that's just like a little visual cue. It's not as though she was metaphorically throwing a dart.
I think that she was.
No, I don't think so, because remember her aptitude, her scores were really high, like her aptitude for piloting or however.
Her cell phone made it really good that she could fly a dragon from its stomach.
Right.
Rather than, the cockpit they put on the top of it. They couldn't have used that.
Yeah. Speaking of the cockpit, what did you think about like the design of the dinosaur and the little wing suit thing that they put on it and how it transformed into a jet? Dude, that looked really neat. It was cool.
It was it shapeshifted. It had to like shrink itself to turn into a jet.
Yeah, I guess kind of. And the show explained throughout history there have been like kites and banners and weird
they
stuff.
turn into stuff because they're magical.
Yeah, they're not called dragons though, right? They're called like OTFs. I forget what that stands for. I wrote it down, but I don't want to turn and look at my screen. So definitely suspension of disbelief is required in spades to enjoy this series.
Which I did not.
But you suspended your disbelief for Juushinki Pandora, which had zero charm. But
I don't need a show to have charm to like it.
So if a show is completely without personality and is bland and gross, you'll enjoy it?
I don't think charm and personality are the same thing.
Well, I'm kind of using it that way. The show has a lot of personality to it.
Okay, well,
visually,
I don't correlate those two. So,
I mean, I'm pretty sure that they're somewhat synonymous. Not directly, but you can use the words interchangeably.
Well, charm is a type of personality. Another type of personality is brooding, which is not very charming.
Yeah. You know what show was really brooding?
What?
Juushinki Pandora. You know what show was charming? Hisone to Maso-tan.
You know what show fits my definition? The one I ranked first. You know what doesn't? The last one.
Well, yeah. That's why I ranked the shows the way I did. Is because I liked one of them and I didn't like the other. CG in this show, it looks pretty good.
It looks okay.
During the transformation scenes, but a lot of the scenes where the plane was actually moving through the sky once the dragon thing had transformed into the plane, a lot of that was just hand drawn.
I don't think so.
Oh, it definitely was. Are you kidding me?
No, the dragon flying was hand drawn. The plane was not.
Huh? Maybe I have that backwards in my head, but a lot of the aerial, swoopy scenes.
Yeah, the dragon was hand drawn. The plane was not.
Well, the dragon was definitely hand drawn. I thought the plane was too, but I thought that when it transformed,
no, it turned CG.
Yeah, and when it transformed, it was CG.
And then afterwards, it was.
Okay, well then they blended in pretty nicely then.
Yeah, they did. But the first scene where like all the jets are taking off and they're moving,
in the opening,
the pilot is CG as well. Yeah, that was not perfect.
No, it wasn't. But that was also a very minor thing.
Yeah, it was. You're right.
The big wow moment is the flight at the end, which in addition to like looking really cool, it also represents Hisone's like discovery,
her aha moment.
Yeah, she realizes that I
like flying. I'm okay with being slowly digested by a dinosaur.
Yeah, it is strange for sure. But it looks great.
It reminds me of a less cute How to Train Your Dragon.
Less cute?
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon, I mean, it looked fine. It was a DreamWorks movie, so it looks all right, but
the dragon had a lot of personality.
In this show, I really like the way the dragon looks.
Stares.
Oh, yeah,
I like the way it looks.
You remember the scene where the dragon eats her cell phone and somebody complains, hey, the only reason that she gets to pilot this dragon is because it wanted to eat her flip phone.
Yeah.
And she says, I'm not so sure that's the only reason. And the dragon's looking down at her, and then, it kind of turns its head. Like, oh, I'm not actually, I don't actually want to be your friend. It's not like I wanted you to pilot me or anything, Baka. And it
You're no Baka.
It turns its head, it's got it's playing coy. And the scenes where it ate her, where it was like slowly, getting closer to her and letting her touch it, and then it goes and eats her.
Chomp.
Yeah. It was fun.
The scenes where man, I can't remember his name, but I can do his voice.
What guy?
Hiccup.
Oh, from How to
Train Your Dragon.
Okay.
Where he's slowly trying to feed Toothless, and then he goes up and it's like, hey, you're nice, and then teeth. And he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
There are a ton of parallels you can draw.
I'm sure there are. Yeah. I'm not that interested in drawing a bunch of parallels between the two though, because I'm sure that movie was in the thoughts of.
I've seen like
made this series.
100 episodes of the TV show.
There's what?
Yeah.
You have?
Uh-huh.
That kids show?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's, well, you rank this show 7th out of 10, so I don't know how much I can trust your judgment, but I'm glad that it's good enough that you're able to watch it without just thinking to yourself, this is a shameless,
cash grab.
yeah, like some tie-in that they just use to sell toys to kids, which it probably is anyway.
Right. Well, no, it's used to sell mobile apps to kids now.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Of course.
Because they all have a smartphone.
So the average of this show is 4.5?
No.
3.5.
1 plus 7 is what?
8.
Divided
4.
by 2 is 4.
Sorry, I'm trying to actually average them without doing the easy way to do it.
Right. I got you. This podcast went really long.
It did, but we also covered 10 shows.
Yeah, there was an 11th that we were thinking about doing. We might watch it,
For next week.
Yeah, just between this episode and the next. I don't know when this episode's going up. Please tell me it's soon.
I hope so.
I won't mention what day it is right now. We'll leave y'all in suspense about that. But there's another show. Wotaku ni koi wa muzukashi, I think is the title. It means love is difficult for otaku. It's about an office romance between a gamer and an anime obsessed fujoshi girl. Sounds really silly. The show was okay, So I might convince Grinchler to watch that, see if he really likes it or
can
something.
tolerate it.
Yeah. What are the 4 shows that we're going to be, or the 5 shows that we're going to be talking about?
Let's read them off. We got in first place, Megalo Box.
Yeah.
In second place, Hinamatsuri.
Okay.
Third is Lupin the Fourth.
Lupin the Third, Part 5.
Lupin the Third, Part 5.
I don't know where you got 4.
I don't know because I went 1, 2, 3, and then I had to do a number after Lupin.
Oh, I
see.
I
went 4.
Gotcha.
The fifth one we're going to cover.
No, the 4th one.
Or the 4th one we're going to cover is Hisone Tomaso.
Hisone Maso-tan.
So you're able to edge it in the top there. There you go.
Nice.
And the last one is
It's actually being edged in.
Yep. The last one is.
Is there a tie?
No, there are. The only tie is for dead last.
Okay. So what's 5th?
Hero Academia.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay. I'm okay with this lineup. I would probably rather talk about Wotaku than Hero Academia. So I'll probably ask that you watch it and see if you like it. But if it doesn't wow you, then yeah, I'm okay with there's some value in keeping up with the big shonen right now, just to be in the loop and know what's going on, I guess.
Sure. I mean, you do have to, for your other anime job, watch.
No, that's not true. I don't have to. You don't have to watch anything you don't want to.
Oh,
I like watching terrible first episodes and pooping on them. You should read my review of the first episode of Juushinki Pandora.
I kind of want to.
It's pretty scathing.
But you're also going to be watching Gun Gale Alternative.
I just have to watch the first episode for a podcast that I'm doing in 2 hours.
Well, good luck.
Thanks. It's a spinoff, so maybe it won't be as terrible as the main series. I don't anticipate enjoying it.
I don't know. After the first 7 episodes of the first half of the first season, it got pretty bad. But I still watched all of it.
It was bad from the very beginning.
Really?
From episode 1.
Yeah.
For episode 1, it was.
I'm your best friend. I'm a villain. Now I'm nice.
It's not even one particular thing about Sword Art Online that I didn't like. It's just everything. And also, I don't like trapped in a video game type series.
And that's why we dropped Overlord.
Well, Overlord was just, it's all subjective. I think Overlord was just lousy, but
all right, well,
people like it. Yeah.
I guess we'll have to finish this up before it hits an hour and 50.
Yeah, if you listen to this whole thing, we'll send a pizza roll to your house if you leave.
Pizza Dunks.
If you leave,
no one's going to get that reference, but we'll send you a Pizza Dunks.
Yeah, leave your address in the comments and we'll send you a Pizza Dunks, I guess.
Yep.
Okay. There's lots of other shows that I watch and I could talk about.
Maybe we can briefly mention them next week.
10 is enough. So yeah. I'm done. Any last thoughts, Grinchler?
Pandora's box was opened and then quickly closed.
Thank God for that. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully this is uploaded soon and we'll be back with our impressions of second episodes, spring 2018. Plus, we're going to start covering a new series. I guess we'll leave that a surprise.
I guess so.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.